Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Discover New Music podcast from us at Pelt Music. Shortly, I'm going to get to chat with Self Torque, who will release their debut album this January. But before then, it is the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Full Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening. But that's enough of all of that. It's time for the podcast, so let's go. Welcome, Gabriel, to the Discover New Music podcast. Absolutely delighted to have you on today. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Exciting time, obviously, for your band Self Talk. Like, delighted to be able to get to talk to you about everything that's going on. Before we get into some of those details, though, we always start this podcast with the same question. It's the Discover New Music podcast. So hopefully, there'll be some people discovering some new music. So with
Fingers
that, we like
crossed.
to have a little icebreaker, and we call it the origin story, which is very grandiose, but it's probably the simplest question we've got for you. And that's basically, what is the story of Self Talk? How did you come together as a band?
Started a few years ago. It sort of started off as a solo project. Um, I was in a band or a few bands and just had some songs that didn't fit and wanted to record them. So I did like an EP on my own just to see if I could do it. And then I did another EP. It soon became boring doing things on my own, So Luke Ellis started playing drums on our second EP, and then when we started doing shows, Jay Cross joined. So that's the three core members of the band. Yeah, so it started off as a solo, but yeah, very very quickly just became another band.
Yeah, no, but a fantastic band from what I've heard thus far. Obviously, really whetting the appetite for everything coming along. And we've featured your latest single, All the Things I Want to Be,
Mhm.
over on our playlist. So obviously, it's the first single to come from an album, which we'll get into shortly. So
Yeah.
it's always a bit of a statement. You've got obviously a body of work, that album that you're going to be putting out January 30th for listeners to get that in your diaries. How did you go about selecting Wannabe as the single that would lead that release?
I don't know. There wasn't a huge amount of thought. It just thought let's go with that one. I think also had a video idea for it, so it seemed to make sense to go with that one first. It's kind of immediate. It's quite bold. It's quite over the top. Thought if might as well go for make a big splash with the first single.
Which I think is a good thing. It's a question I like to ask because I'm always intrigued because there's sometimes a bit of thought that obviously does go into, oh, what song are we going to pick to put out first? But actually, if it's just a song where you just think, well, that is the song. You don't actually need to think about it. This just
Yeah.
feels right that this is the song. Then obviously that's got to be a good sign.
Yeah, that was very much the case for this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, excellent. And there's a song that I've really enjoyed checking out and listening to. I mean, what can you tell us about the song itself? How did that song come together for you?
It was one of those rare moments where it happens very quickly. I wrote the lyrics sitting in a van when it was a very cold and wet day, just fantasizing about being somewhere else or someone else. Just yeah, really lost in just not wanting to be in cold, wet Sussex. And the lyrics came together very quickly, a couple of minutes, and then forgot about them. And then probably about 2 weeks later, sat down with the guitar and was like, I want to write something that sounds like Hot Snakes, which is often how I start writing a song. Um, and thought, oh, I've got those lyrics. And yeah, it just came together really quickly. It's very rare that that happens. It's usually like a slog to write a song, and very frustrating. But it was just one of those moments where it just comes together.
which I mean, really is just another great sign, isn't it? But like I say, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, quite often they're the songs that really achieve something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I,
nice.
yeah, I live for those moments,
Yeah.
when it comes together. And yeah, I think you're right. It just there's a I mean, when it's easy to write a song, there's an sort of effortlessness about the song that I think translates.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm glad as well, Gabriel, you touched on the video because I always talk about videos on the podcast because I'm a music video geek. Grew up before school, after school, which is
Hmm.
far too long ago now. Watching like music TV, and obviously all these music TV channels. I always say about how Krang, Scuzz, and everything. Even MTV aren't showing. They've just closed all of their music channels. So obviously, music TV is really not a thing anymore. YouTube is where I always post listeners to, and we'll have a link for the video of the track in the bio for the episode. And I do
Cool.
encourage listeners to go and check it out because it's a really unique video actually. It's one that I was really sort of enthralled by watching it. Not the standard story video or your obviously performance video, something a little bit different, which again I just always love to see that art form of a music
Mm,
video like taking shape and obviously fitting with the song, which I think it does really, really well. So
okay.
listeners, go check it out. But Gabriel, what can you tell us about the video for the song? How did that concept come together?
I think so. It's directed by Josie Bedford, who's a like photographer and writer, and I guess now videographer. And so we were discussing it, and I didn't really want to be in the video, and I didn't want to do a performance, a band performance, miming it. Just the whole thing about that for me personally, I always find that sort of difficult to sort of commit to because it feels so sort of staged. Um, so I was like, how can we make a video that I'm not in, but we're making it on a very low budget and trying to make it quite quickly. So essentially, so it ended up me being in it. But I thought, well, the way that we can get around me not wanting to be in the video is just to shoot, my mouth and like other little bits. So that was, yeah, it kind of centers around my mouth, and various like fabrics and earth and things like that. But yeah, it was yeah, mostly Josie's like concept. And yeah, like I say, I really like videos where it's a separate work of art that but also ties in with the music. And yeah, I think it's just like it's a visually pleasing video. Well, it's visually pleasing. I think some people think it's quite grotesque, but it looks good.
No, it does, and it fits really well with the songs. Obviously, yourself and Josie have worked well to obviously make that work, and listeners definitely do need to go and check that out. So link will be in the bio, so please do. And it's a good appetite whetter for obviously everything that's to come. So I've already touched on the 30th of January. So
Mhm.
not if it feels like when you talk about 2026, you should be talking about like quite a way away, but actually, God,
Yeah,
it's going to be Christmas sooner than we know it, and like the new year. So not long
yeah.
until this album's out. You've just announced it, a Brutal Nadir. Um, how excited are you to announce debut album? It's a big moment for any band.
Yeah, it's really good. It's yeah, I'm really excited. In some ways, it feels it's hard to believe it's happening. There was such a long time in the process of writing it and trying to get the dates with the producer and the studio. There was some real like dicey moments where we didn't think it was going to happen, and then it's been we recorded it in November. We tracked it in November last year, so it's been quite a long time coming. So yeah, to have it coming out is really exciting, and yeah, it feels really good. I'm really looking forward to people being able to hear a full body of work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, because it is a game changer being able to put out that full body of work and intriguing as well. Obviously, like I said, it's a year ago now, that it was put together.
Yeah.
And that is often the case. You know, listeners might not realize the process involved in making a big chunky piece of art like an album, you know, isn't something that can be done overnight. And it obviously takes others to work with. And I know you worked with Mark Roberts, Alex Gordon on the records, who have worked themselves with, you know, a range of like incredible artists. So
Yeah.
what was it like for you, the whole experience in working with those gents?
It was yeah, it was great. I've worked with them both on EPs with different projects years ago, and they're both just so easy to work with, so relaxed, and both really fast and just efficient. And yeah, it was really fun working with both of them. Yeah, it was. We did most of it at Brighton Electric. And yeah, it went really well. It was really smooth. It's like it's work, but it's a kind of work that you love. So you're in your element, and it flies by, and it's tiring, but like you love every moment of it. So it was good. It was a really good experience.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I mean, what's that saying? If you find a job that you love, then you never work a day in your life. Obviously, you know, great opportunity and great experience, I'm sure. And obviously, you touched on Brighton Studios, and obviously the whole area of Brighton. The music scene in Brighton is just ridiculous. You know, there's
Yeah,
just so much talent down there.
it's wild.
How? Yeah, exactly. Like, how like, important is it to you to be surrounded by such creativity?
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the reasons that I moved here, and it's why I'm still here. I've been living in Brighton for 13 years, and I've considered moving to other towns, but I have 13 years worth of connections with musicians and artists and studios. So and having that there is like yeah, it's hugely important. And it's not you know you could if you I don't, but if you wanted to, you could go to two gigs every night
Oh
in
yeah.
Brighton. Um, so yeah, there's a huge amount of choice.
Yeah, no, it is incredible. I'm more over in the east of England, but I love when I can get down to Brighton, either for work or for gigs and spend some time there. It's not the cheapest place to go to and spend time
No,
in.
no.
But
Whereabouts are you based?
I'm over Suffolk in
Okay, yeah.
near Ipswich, I always
Oh,
say, because
nice.
that's the biggest like place, which has no music scene, unfortunately. Well, no, I say no. There's some good people there trying to get something started. But you know, I look on at the likes of Brighton, Bristol, Nottingham, and the sort of scenes that I see in these like fantastic thriving like cities and areas, and yeah, quite jealous. So yeah, it's great, and to have that talent around, obviously, I just think it breeds creativity between everyone down there. So it's
Yeah.
fantastic, and obviously, you know, a Brutal Nadir is on its way. Again, there'll be links in the bio for listeners to click through and prepare themselves for its arrival. Hopefully, you know, pre-order yourselves a copy. Um, so what can obviously listeners expect from the record? They've had one taste now with Wannabe. You know, what would you say they can expect from that whole album?
Um, it's yeah, it's a real kind of it's a journey. It starts it ends in a very different place to where it starts. Um, and it's kind of got a journey to it. It was kind of I didn't when like writing it, I didn't feel like I was writing a concept album, um, or that it had a theme, but it was more that once it was finished and I listened to it and looked at it, I could see that there's somewhat of a theme and a story like arc to it in a way, roughly. Um, so yeah, I think I mean another reason for putting "Wannabe" out as a first single is it's a fairly good representation of the record. Like it's mostly a fast sort of I don't know garagey kind of sound, but there's other little bits in there, different influences from like like 60s like girl groups and like Phil Spector, a little bit of like surf and things like that. So it's got a few different bits, a few different elements from it. But yeah, Wannabe is probably it's a good indicator of what the record sounds like.
Yeah, well, I cannot wait to hear the rest of it. Absolutely looking forward to it. It's going to be really, really good, I'm sure. I'm just wondering as well, like, what is it like for you now? Obviously, a year after sort of creation and putting that down on record. If you were to sit and listen to it now, what emotions does it stir? A year down the line, listening to that.
Um, I yeah, I think I mean it's a real mixed bag because it's like reading diary entries in a way. It depends what mood you're in, how you're listening to it. You can, sometimes it's like reading a diary entry, or other times it's like thinking about the process of, um, putting the songs together with Luke and Jay, or thinking about the recording or the mixing. But I think mostly, like if I listen to it now, I'm more excited about the fact that it's gonna be out in a few months. But it's also very like when we finished when we finished recording in November, it'd been a real like slog to get it done, and like I said, there were points where we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to make it, and I was finishing the lyrics, like right up till the end, like the day before, like sometimes before you go and do a take. So it's like once it was done, I was like, I don't want to think about it again, or I don't want to like. I was almost in the mind frame of like I'm gonna get this album done and that's it. I'm not gonna make another album ever again. I'm not gonna play any music because I just had to get it done. But 2 months after you've got a little bit of distance from it and you get a mix back and it's inspiring and you start playing again, you start writing again. So yeah, it's a real mixture of emotions listening back to it. But yeah, yeah, I do. It has getting to listen to that whole piece again is inspiring and has led me to write more, which is a great result.
It absolutely is a great result. Yeah, no, love to hear it. It's really fascinating to get that insight. And obviously, as well, there's the recorded side of the industry, and then normally when people record some music, they tend to go out and play those songs live. So, what are the plans for Self Talk? Is there obviously hope that you can get out and play these songs once the album's out, a tour or something, anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, so we've got so we're putting another single out on the 12th of November. Um, and then we're going to be playing a secret show in Brighton on the 22nd. Um, in Central Brighton on the 22nd of November. So yeah, to hit us up online on Instagram for details about that sort of thing. And then I think, yeah, maybe another show before the end of the year. And then next year, yeah, after the release of the record, I think we're looking into doing some dates. So um, getting out into the country should be good.
Yeah. No, it will be very good, and I can't wait. And like, I'm glad you gave the shout out to Instagram because this is where I like to always just spotlight, listeners. If you want to keep track of these shows as they get announced, social media is the place to do it these days. So it should pop up in the corner of the screen. But Self Talk Music on Instagram is the place to go to follow the band. And obviously, yeah, I implore you to do so because you got shows coming up, you got more singles coming up, and you got the album on the 30th of January. So obviously, an exciting time to jump on board
Yes.
the train with Self Talk. So it's always like it's been great talking to you about everything coming up. But we always finish this podcast same as we always start it with the same segment. We've always got the same closing segment on this podcast, and it follows sort of touching on the live side of the industry. I've said I'm a music video geek, and I'm also a setlist geek. I'm just
Mhm.
fascinated by set lists. We talk
Yeah,
about different.
same.
Yeah, it's a good start then. Good start for this conversation because the section's called Setlist Science.
Okay.
So, um, the main question for me at this point is how much importance do you place into the structure of your set lists, and have you got any rules that you tend to follow?
Yeah, it's interesting. I really can go down like a hole with set lists. You know, like on Setlist FM. Just it's an
Yeah,
incredible research, like
it
resource.
is.
Sorry, just being able to like look at comparing like I don't know like Nirvana set lists from like '92 and going working out what they were playing and like random little covers. I can lose hours
Me
like
too.
looking into that sort of thing. Um, yeah, I think they like. I think like with a sequencing of an album, I think there's a kind of natural. I think you sort of just know how it's going to go, especially like to how to start it. Do you know what I mean? Like I think you
Hmm.
always with an album or a set list, you always know like okay these three bangers are going to go at the start, and then there's I think a little bit more thought into it of like how you're going to transition into the sort of like middle of the set, and then you want to wow people at the end as well. So yeah, I think it's pretty much 1 2 3 bang 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 at the beginning of the set, no no chat, and then maybe after like the third song like get your breath back and say
Yeah.
hello. And then, yeah, I think probably the only other consideration I put into it is like pacing it as a vocalist. Like it's very easy to get excited in the first couple of songs, and then like by the end of the set, you can like barely get a note out. So yeah, yeah, that's probably like the main consideration after like the first like sort of few songs is like just trying to pace myself. Um, yeah,
And that is such an important thing, actually, that, if you haven't performed, played in a band, and toured regularly, that, as a fan going to gigs, you maybe not realizing the sort of thought that actually has to go into the pacing of the set, because you don't want to damage your voice as a singer, you don't want to completely knacker out the drummer or, whatever it
yeah,
may be, depending on, the songs, the tuning for the guitars, so what order you
sure,
want to put
yeah,
that into, it doesn't break up the set with too many changeovers and all this. There's a lot of thought that has to go into it, more than just like the obvious of, yeah, let's have some good songs at the start, good songs at the end, because obviously with that itself becomes, okay, we've got a good start, good end, well, how do we make the middle work,
yeah,
so there's a lot of thought that does need to go into it. And clearly you're a fellow like kin of mine of Setlist FM. I spend hours
yeah,
on there.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, shout out to Setlist FM,
yeah.
definitely, like
Whole
for
evening's gone just diving into
absolutely.
set list. Yeah.
Absolutely. And another use I find for it, I touched on earlier that schools are distant memory for me. I'm getting a bit old now, and it helps me to know what the last sort of song is of a set. For bands that will play the same set, for every single show. If I'm going to a show and I can see, oh, the last song is like a certain song, then I'll never leave before the end. Like,
Mhm.
but maybe halfway through that last song, if I've got a train or something to catch, I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like, right, this is my time to sort of make my little exit now. So it does help me with that. But that leads me on to the second part of the setlist science question, and it's around encores. So either for yourself as a performer or yourself as a fan going to a show, the simple question is encores, yes or no?
I think no. Um, yeah, I just wanted them like as a audience member. I just want them to rock. You know,
Yeah.
I just want them to keep going. Um, sometimes there's like I don't know. It's not when you go and see like a band, like a big band or a band that really like means a lot to you. There's sort of like excitement, like the like pre-show jitters, like you're gonna see this band that you love. That's like a hugely exciting bit, and I guess um, if a band goes off, you know that they're probably going to come back on, so it's not the same. So yeah, I'd probably say no. And then in terms of a performer, I've never in any band I've been in. played a set and walked off stage and come back on. There's been like a few occasions where we finished a set and the crowd of like chanted one more song, and then we've gone in to another song. But I think, like you're saying about the importance of the set list. Um, if you're not expecting to do that and you've finished the set how you wanted to, you've then got to play another song, and then you've got to decide in that moment what you're going to play, and maybe that song's not as good. But so yeah, but that's rare that that's happened.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's organic, then I've like this appreciation for the organic. The fans have not left. We
Yeah,
need to go and do something else. But I agree with your point. Actually, if you've played everything you wanted to play or felt you were going to play in the order you wanted to play it, then you're normally left with a song at that point where actually we didn't make the set for a reason. Like,
yeah,
right, we'll come and play it for you, but it's not going to be the climax that we kind of wanted. So I like. I'm more in the no camp now. I started off when I first started this podcast, more probably in the yes camp for the romance of it because it's an
sure,
encore. There's got to be that encore. But I say now I'm older and I just want to get the train back, and all of these things sort of start to factor in. And you think, actually, yeah, you know what? I know you're coming back on. You know you're coming back on. You
yeah, yeah,
probably just stood the other side, especially in the smaller venue. You just literally stood there like, has it been long enough yet? Like, should we go back
yeah,
on?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like, it's all a bit awkward, that peekaboo for adults thing. Like, and yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, just get on, smash it out and
yeah,
go is the way now. But
yeah.
yeah, no, and hopefully, I say listeners will get a chance to catch your set list writing in action with self-talk in the near future. Obviously, they've got the album coming out on the 30th of January, so something obviously to get excited for. And yeah, obviously check out listeners the single and the video that we talked about earlier for Wannabe. Like really loved it so far. So can't wait to see what else is coming from Self Talk. That's my
Brilliant.
final message for the listeners today. But I always leave the final message with the guests. Gabriel, what would be your final message for the listeners today?
Just thanks for listening, and hopefully see you at a show sometime soon.
No better final message. No, thank you so much, Gabriel, for joining me on the podcast today.
Cheers, man. Have a good one.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. I really do hope you enjoyed that chat there with Self Talk. Remember that their debut album, A Brutal Nadir, is out in January. Therefore, you should follow the band across social media. And while you're there, you might as well follow Full Pelt. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. Lastly, from me, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening, because we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Discover New Music podcast.